God does not exist. At least that's what a small group, but a growing group of people try to believe in. Hi, I'm Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. Atheism is on the rise. Uh, Celebrities like Bill Maher and Mike Maron make jokes about it and label it as superstition when referring to the belief in God or of a higher spiritual being. Many young college-educated people are also in that school of thought. Most of them, I must admit, are men, but they still, based on their education and the arrogance that comes along with it, they believe that there is no such thing as God. But my take on that is that it's nothing to worry about. It's not something that you should involve yourself in. It has no effect on your belief system. I think that we can agree that the stereotypical image of God, that giant bearded white man in the sky on a throne, is really not a valid representation of the powerful creative forces that run the universe. That image was an attempt by humans many years ago to wrap their minds around the overwhelming and seemingly miraculous intelligence that controls our world. The intelligence that gives us confidence to know that a rose bush is going to produce a rose, or a baby chick is going to break out of a hen's egg, or a human being will be born with characteristics passed down through the mother and the father. But when you think about the trillions of functions that occur every minute of every day around the entire world, and not to speak of our solar system or our galaxy, God, as we see it or as we envision it through that old image, is much too small. So for me, the descriptive term is not God. For me, the descriptive term is infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence. Please click on the thumbs up button below, and if you haven't already, it would be great if you chose to subscribe. Remember too that I would love to hear your thoughts and comments, so please use the chat box or the comments section below. Now, the traditional image of God is much too small when compared to the task involved of creating and running the universe. Remember, creating these humanized images was the only way for human beings to cope with the spectacular things they witnessed as they saw how the world operates. But just because we've outgrown the images doesn't mean that the power and the intelligence are not there. It is because of those images that I think it's so easy for those who reject the concept of a higher intelligence to do so. It gives them a target, because they can then assign personalities and pass judgment with such arguments as, well, if there was really a God, then how could he allow all the terrible things that are happening in the world to go on? Wars and murder and abuse and poverty. Shouldn't God fix all that and create a paradise for us? Shouldn't God solve all our problems for us? But when you get right down to it, is that what you really want? Is that something that you can really stand to live through? I'm sure you've all heard of, or most of you've heard of, the terrible twos and the trying threes. Those are points or phases in a child's development where they begin to want to do things for themselves. They want to learn for themselves. They want to be independent. And they will scream at the top of their lungs if they don't get their way. Of course, the parents could yield and give them everything they wanted when they wanted it. I've known some people who were pampered like that all their lives, and I must admit they were very difficult to be around. And they were unhappy people who were really scared to death of real life because they were so totally dependent on their parents to take care of them. Infinite intelligence, or cosmic consciousness, or universal mind has a better idea. It not only created us, but it actually is us. Consciousness. Consciousness is the basis of all existence. Consciousness is the basis of all existence. Science is slowly moving beyond quantum physics and is inching closer and closer to proving that consciousness is the basis of all existence. Everything comes from consciousness, infinite intelligence. But we do not have to wait for science to prove the truth of that. Right here, right now, we know, those of us who know, infinite intelligence is expressing through us as us. Infinite intelligence gives us the power to grow and to expand and to solve and to rise in consciousness. Yes, there are wars, but we have the power within ourselves to prevent those wars once we learn how to tap into and yield to the infinite power of love within us. Yes, there is poverty, but we have the power within ourselves to solve poverty once we learn how to go within, and rise in consciousness as we yield to the infinite power of love within us. Yes, there is disease, but we have the power within ourselves to not only cure disease, but to prevent disease. We have the power to prevent disease once we realize that disease is a product of fear and anger and unforgiveness generated within our own minds. So, that problem too will be solved once we learn how to tap into the infinite power of love within us. War, poverty, disease, they're not unsolvable. They are within our grasp. They can be changed by us because we have the power within us. Infinite intelligence is the power within us. All we need to do is go within. Go within. Go within and allow infinite intelligence to rise in us and yield to that incredibly beautiful, wonderful power of love that is always there. Please click on the thumbs up button below, and if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. And remember, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments, so please use the chat box or the comments section. Yes, it is true. God does not exist. God does not exist. At least not the God we created in the infancy of our humanity as a way of coping with the forces and powers that were too big for us to understand in our limited view of the world. Yes, that God is gone, but infinite intelligence is here. Infinite intelligence is always here. Infinite intelligence is what was behind those images. Infinite intelligence was what was behind that mythology. Infinite intelligence was what was behind those superstitions. And infinite intelligence is still here expanding us, teaching us, loving us, being us. Our consciousness is rising. Our consciousness is expanding. We are on the verge of coming into our own power as the divine children. We are coming into our own power as divine children. We are growing into a greater understanding of our own beingness as individualized expressions of infinite intelligence, individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. We are already in paradise, but we are so hypnotized by our focus on the negativity in front of us that we can't see the glory that surrounds us. And as long as we concentrate on that ugliness that confronts us, we will remain blind to the beauty just beyond that wall, just past that ugliness. It's awaiting our discovery. It's there. So once we learn to go within ourselves and tap into the infinite intelligence that resides deep in our hearts, then the scales will fall away from our eyes like cataracts, and they will reveal the light that has never left us. That light has always been there, just as the sun is always there, even when there are clouds hiding it. Let us close with prayer. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Infinite Intelligence. Thank you for bringing us all together here today in this life so that we can become the spiritual warriors and join in the work that we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and our relationship to you, Infinite Intelligence. We open our minds, we open our hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we are beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. And as we become channels of your power, Infinite Intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more and more each day. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear and anger and the pain of unforgiveness. So we are now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain that we have caused to ourselves and for the pain we have caused to those around us, and as we learn to forgive those who inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this, we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. I'd greatly appreciate it if you click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Remember, I would love to hear your comments and thoughts. Please use the chat box or the comments section below the video. I am Rev Andrew Bozeman, and this has been On the Wings of Your Mind.